Welcome to Adult Sleep Stories, where your day ends and your dreams begin. Tonight, let go of the noise, slow your breath, and follow the sound of my voice into a world beyond the ordinary. This is your time to unwind, drift deeply, and dream wildly. Let's begin. This is your time to rest, to soften, to let go of the day. Find a comfortable position and let your body settle. Allow your breath to slow. Tonight, I'll guide you through a love story unlike any other. A tale not of hearts meeting and passing, but of souls, two halves of one, who chose to part in order to find each other again. A spirit divided between the stars, falling through lifetimes, through centuries, a feminine and masculine energy, forever drawn back to one another. Traverse the Sky is not just a story of reunion. It's a remembrance, a return to something your heart may already know. So as you drift, let this story wrap around you like starlight. Let it carry you across oceans of memory, through dreams, into the quiet beyond. And if something stirs you, an ache, a warmth, a name you cannot place, perhaps that is your own soul remembering. Now close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let us begin. There is a silence older than time, not the hush of a quiet room or the stillness between breaths, but a deeper kind of quiet, the kind that came before language, before sound, before form. It lives beyond galaxies, behind nebulae, between the soft pulses of stars being born and dying all at once. And in that silence, there was a light. It was not masculine nor feminine, not separate, not whole. It simply was bright and endless and eternal. One soul folded gently into itself, a warmth that could cradle worlds, and a love too vast to be contained to any one shape. They were together then, not two beings, but one spirit, one pulse, one song. They danced in the stillness, curled around each other like ribbons of stardust and firelight. There were no names, no bodies, no beginnings and no end, only the soft exhale of unity. But even the stars must fall. The soul grew curious. Earth was calling. Life, messy, temporary, beautiful, was calling. It wanted to feel things in ways it couldn't in the sky, to touch hands, to cry in the rain, to laugh until it ached, to fall in love, to fall. And so, with reverence, the soul did something unthinkable. It divided. One became two. The masculine spark, lit with passion and pursuit, descended with fire in his chest and purpose in his heart. The feminine shimmer, wrapped in wisdom and knowing, fell like a soft petal drifting on wind. neither remembered the whole. Not truly, but deep inside them, buried beneath centuries and skin and story, there lived the ache, the pull, the echo of what once was. They would meet again, many times, in fleeting touches, in gazes held too long, in dreams they couldn't explain. Sometimes they would find each other and stay. Other times they would pass like ships in fog, wondering why they always felt like something was missing. But they were never truly lost, because no matter how far they roamed, no matter how many lives they lived, the stars still held their promise that one day they would return to the place where souls remember, to the sky that made them, to each other. The fall is not sharp. It is soft, like sinking into a warm sea, like being cradled by the wind, like drifting through layers of light until they blur into the hush of gravity. She does not remember the sky, not at first. All she knows is the hush of her first breath, the thud of her new human heart, the weight of skin stretched over bone, the sound of the ocean calling her name, though she has not yet learned what her name is. She is born beneath clouds that curl like ink on paper. The air smells like salt and something old. She opens her eyes for the first time, and though she does not know the word for it yet, she understands. This world is longing. Her name this time is Alara. She is a girl of still waters and steady hands. She grows near the sea, barefoot and wild-haired, with sand in her lashes and stories on her tongue. Her mother says she's always been a dreamer, always staring up at the stars like they might answer back. And sometimes they do. She feels it even as a child, that ache in her chest when the moon is full, the way her body thrums with something more when she hears certain songs or watches lovers walk by with fingers twined. Her heart is always asking questions the world cannot answer. She feels it even as a child, that ache in her chest when the moon is full, the way her body thrums with something more when she hears certain songs or watches lovers walk by with fingers twined. Her heart is always asking questions the world cannot answer. "Why do I feel like I've left something behind?" she asked once, no older than 8, sitting on the shore with her arms wrapped around her knees. Her grandmother, with skin like creased parchment and voice like worn velvet, only smiles. "You remember," the old woman says gently, "even though you don't even know what you're remembering." Alara grows with a knowing that never quite fades. She paints stars across her bedroom ceiling. She collects stories of soulmates and twin flames and lovers separated by oceans. She writes poetry on napkins, pages, and backs of receipts, always about someone she hasn't met, a him she cannot name. Sometimes he is smoke and shadow, sometimes he is fire and light, always he is just out of reach. And when she dreams, she feels him, not in form, but in warmth, in the hush that settles in her bones when her head touches the pillow, in the way her heart slows, steadies, and listens. The dreams are not scenes so much as sensations. Hands brushing through her hair, a low voice murmuring things in a language older than earth. One night, she wakes with a single word echoing in her mouth. Soon. She whispers it into her pillow and doesn't know why she cries. Years pass, lovers come and go, none of them wrong, but none of them him. They hold her and she lets them, but they don't touch the part of her that aches like a phantom limb. She walks often, always by water. She says it is for peace, but truly she's searching. For what? She isn't sure. One late autumn, she finds herself in a quiet coastal town, the kind where the days slip by in a rhythm of fog and tide. She rents a small cottage near the cliffs. It is meant to be temporary, a pause in a life too full of motion. But the moment she steps onto the balcony and sees the stars reflected in the sea, she feels it again. That tug, that thrum, that sense that the sky is watching her. She lights a candle each night and leaves the window open, even in the chill. Something inside of her is waiting. And one night, in that velvet space between waking and sleep, she hears him. Alara. It is not a voice she recognizes, but it is one her soul remembers. She gasps awake, but there is no fear, only quiet and moonlight and the faint scent of ash and roses. She places a hand on her chest and whispers, "You found me." Far above, a star seems to blink. She begins to dream differently after that. Now, in her sleep, she walks across vast skies, not ground, not clouds, just light beneath her feet and stars above her head. In these dreams, she is not Alara. She is not even human. She is shimmer and warmth and memory. She is the other half of something whole. And in the distance, walking toward her, is a shape wrapped in light, masculine, familiar. She cannot see his face, but the way he moves, the way her being stretches toward him like sunflowers to light. She knows. She's always known. In waking life, she begins to write letters she never sends, to the one her spirit aches for, to the one the world forgot. She leaves them on the shore, anchored with stones, folded into jars and set adrift in the tide. I remember you in places I've never been, one says, in the notes of songs I've never heard, in the dreams that make me weep without reason. Her neighbors think she's odd, but she doesn't mind. She's not meant to belong here fully, not yet. Her feet walk earth, but her soul sleeps in the stars. One night, the wind carries her whisper across the cliffs, "Come back to me." And somewhere in a different life, a man stirs in his sleep. Falling was different for him. It was not soft. It was not gentle. It was fire and shadow, thunder in the bones and lightning through spirit. He fell like a storm, fast, aching, hungry. And when he landed, he opened his new eyes and exhaled without knowing why the emptiness came with it. His name this time was Kale. And he is born beneath a sky thick of heat and dust, where constellations pulse like secrets above the desert. The stars are sharp-edged here. The wind sings in a language older than the rocks. As a boy, he spends hours laying on his back staring upward. He traces shapes in the dark and wonder why certain ones feel like memories. He doesn't talk much, not about that anyway. He builds things with his hands, kites, radios, wooden figures, but sometimes he dreams of building something he can't explain. A tower, a door, a map, something that leads back to what he cannot say. And then there are the dreams. They come without warning. Some nights, none. Other nights, he wakes gasping, tears on his cheeks. No face in his mind, just a name burning behind his ribs. And he forgets it each time. But he always wakes knowing this. He is missing someone. Someone who hums in his blood like distant thunder. As he grows, he drifts, city to city, horizon to horizon. He keeps taking jobs that keep his hands busy and his mind quiet. Construction, scaffolding, road work, anything that lets him move. But even as he moves, he's listening to songs that feel like home, to voices that echo in strange places, to women who laugh in a way that flickers something in his chest. He kisses many, holds a few, but none of them silence the ache. The ache isn't loneliness, not exactly. It's a presence in the absence, a knowing that someone somewhere is thinking of him too. Once in a dim hotel room in a foreign city, he sees her in a dream. Not her face, but her outline, shimmering in blue and gold, walking across a field of stars toward him. He tries to run to her, but the sky pulls them apart like water rushing between fingers. Still, he wakes with her name. Alara. He says it out loud, again and again, as if it's the only truth he's ever spoken. Then he forgets. Not entirely, not in the bones, but the conscious mind is stubborn. He writes it in the corner of a book he leaves behind in a hostel. He never sees it again. One autumn, he finds himself in a town by the sea. He didn't plan to go there. He never really plans anymore. He just follows. The wind that seemed to tug him forward, the sudden pull in his chest when he turns down a coastal road he doesn't remember noticing. He rents a room at the edge of a cliff, where the gulls circle and waves crash with purpose. He sleeps more here, and when he sleeps, he dreams with color. She's closer now. He can feel her breath in the stars. He can hear her voice, not in words but in sensation. A feeling like standing under a summer storm, a warmth that breaks him open from the inside. Sometimes he dreams he's standing on the sea, barefoot, arms wide, whispering a name he doesn't know. Sometimes he feels her whisper his name in return. He begins writing letters too, scraps of thoughts, fragments of memory, words he does not understand until they're on the page. He leaves them in bottles on the sand, or tucks them into cracks in driftwood. I remember you in the pause between heartbeats. I remember you in the stars I haven't touched. I remember you in me. He builds a fire one night alone on the beach, not to cook, not to stay warm, just to watch something burn. The flames lick the air like they know the sky is watching. And in that moment, he feels it. She is near. Not near like footsteps, not near like sound, near like breath, near like soul. He whispers into the fire, "I'm still looking," and the flames flicker like they've heard him. Days pass, the wind grows colder. He doesn't leave. Something tells him to wait. And then one night, the sky clears. The stars are so bright they feel like open eyes. He lies back on the sand, arms crossed behind his head, and stares up. And then he hears her. Not in his ears, not in his mind, but in his soul. Come back to me. It's like a whisper carried by waves, a thought that is not his own. His chest tightens, his fingers curl into the sand, his lips move before he even knows what he's saying. I never left. And in the stars above, a path begins to glow. Time to a soul is not a line. It's a breath, a spiral, a slow blooming flower, opening and closing over and over again. And they, Alara and Kale, have bloomed together before. Not always as Alara, not always as Kale, but always as echoes of themselves, finding each other in the soft seams of the world. This time is only one of many. She remembers first. In the shadow of dusk, brushing her fingers over the edge of a lantern's glass, she catches a flicker of memory, a vision not from this life, a candlelit room, a man with a scar above his right brow, a storm outside, and her hand in his. It slips away before she can grasp it, but the ache it leaves is real. Later that night, she dreams of a garden that doesn't exist. Ivy crawling up crumbling stone, a bench beneath a moon-shaped tree. She sits beside him whose name she doesn't know, but whose shoulder feels like home. They say nothing, but they don't need to. He remembers next. In a market, watching a woman walk past wearing a green scarf, he freezes. For a second, the the world quiets, the sounds blur, and he sees her. Not the woman in the scarf, but another, long ago. Same eyes, same breath, different time. He drops the bag of apples in his hands. A vendor curses, a child laughs. The moment passes, but he doesn't forget. He dreams of that night of ink on paper, a letter, folded hands, a promise. Find me again. The memories are not clear. They don't come like movies, start to finish. They arrive as flashes, sensations, a taste in the mouth, a name muttered in sleep, a longing so specific it leaves them breathless. A lifetime as artists in Vienna, he painted stars, she wrote them into sonnets. They loved each other in quiet rooms and on snow-dusted rooftops, in a world that did not want them to exist. They held hands only in shadows. He died first, and she found him in a painting 10 years later. A lifetime on horseback, wind in their hair. She was royalty, he a soldier. Their eyes met across a crowded field, and that was all it took. 3 stolen months before duty tore them apart. She waited, and he never came back. A lifetime in ink and ash. He was a printmaker in a narrow shop on a crooked street. She delivered milk with her father. Each morning at 6:42, she passed by his shop. Each morning he waited. One day, she didn't come. A war had started. He closed the shop the next day and joined the fight. They met once more in a burned village 3 years later. She was injured, and he didn't recognize her at first. They had 1 hour before the ambulance came. They said everything without speaking. And in this life, they have not met yet, not truly, but the air thickens when they are near. The birds fly lower. The light bends just slightly. She feels a rush of calm when standing by his window, not knowing it's his. He dreams of water at the very moment she touches it. In separate cities, they pause and feel seen. The sky keeps folding in around them, closer, wider, pulling the spiral tight. They both begin to remember the same dream, walking on stars, meeting in the middle, each time a little nearer, each time a little clearer. They reach for each other in sleep. They write the same line in their journals. You are the place I always return to. One dusk, across oceans, they both look up. She sees Orion, he sees Cassiopeia. Neither speaks aloud, but in the stillness, they whisper each other's names. Not the names of this life, the names only their souls remember. The dreams are different now. They no longer feel like echoes. They feel like preludes. She stands on the shore, barefoot in the sand, her hands curled into the sleeves of a wool sweater. The wind brushes her cheek like a breath. She should feel cold, but she doesn't. Instead, her body hums, as though the air is alive, as though the sea has something to say and she's forgotten how to listen. Every evening she walks the waterline, whispering questions to the waves. Somewhere, deep in her chest, a voice stirs. He's coming. Not a voice she knows, but a truth she recognizes. He wakes at 3:03 a.m., heart racing. The dream was the same again. A woman standing on the edge of a cliff, hair like liquid gold, eyes that glow like embers behind a veil of salt wind. She doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. Her presence is the answer to every question he's never asked aloud. He writes it down, the feeling of it, in the notebook by his bed. Every page is filled with her, and still it is not enough. They begin to move toward each other without knowing it, one step at a time, one instinct at a time. She books a trip to a nearby island on a whim. He cancels a last-minute flight and drives west instead. They both stop in the same coastal town. Different hours, different streets. But the sky knows. The sky always knows. On the third day, she walks into a cafe at the edge of a marina. She doesn't know why. She doesn't drink coffee. But the air shifted, and when she passed the window, it felt like someone said her name. There is a man at the counter. Dark hair, tall, shoulders that slope in a way she once traced in a dream. His head is turned. He's laughing softly with the barista. She doesn't see his face. She leaves before he turns around. That night, she dreams of fire. Not danger, not fear. Warmth. A circle of flame and starlight. And him, again. He reaches for her hand. She touches his palm and wakes up weeping. He returns to the cafe the next day. The barista tells him a woman had been in, asking about a candle she couldn't name the scent of. He knows instantly. Amber and driftwood, the one he's been searching for weeks. The barista shrugs. Didn't get her name. She just said it smells like him. The signs gather like threads. They both hear the same song on the radio 3 days in a row. They both see a child drawing stars in the dirt. They both dream of a place with no floor, only sky beneath their feet. They start sleeping with the windows open. They start waking with tears and no sadness, only the unbearable weight of beauty. The veil is lifting. They are no longer searching. They are being drawn. One night, she lights every candle in her small cottage and sits on the floor. She closes her eyes and listens, not with her ears, with the space beneath her ribs. She whispers, "I'm ready," and the wind changes. Miles away, in a field bathed in moonlight, he looks up. Orion gleams like a wound in the sky. And then he hears it. A voice, soft and steady, from within his chest. Find her. He doesn't question it. He gets in his car and drives. The stars stretch long that night, low, kind. They want to watch the reunion, like they've waited lifetimes to. She walks to the shore again. The sea is calm, impossibly so. And in the distance, there is a figure, tall, still, facing her. He doesn't move, not at first. Neither does she. They simply look, as if each had finally found the mirror of their soul, the voice they were born remembering, the home they never knew how to name. When they reach each other, there are no introductions, no awkward hellos, only the quiet hum of two halves sliding back into place. He touches her cheek. She doesn't flinch. They breathe the same air. And in that stillness, the stars seem to blink. Not a spark, but a recognition. They have found each other. And the echoing stops. There is a moment between heartbeats, a stillness between inhale and exhale, a space where the world goes quiet, not asleep, not gone, just waiting. They find that moment and they step into it. It begins softly. The edges of their bodies blur, not in fear, not in pain. It is release. The skin no longer holds them. The bones no longer anchor them. They are not dying. They are becoming again what they always were beneath it all. Light, breath, knowing. They rise together, not upward, inward, outward, everywhere. Their feet leave the sand. Their thoughts leave language. The stars no longer seem far. They are within and around and behind their eyes. They are light now, golden and pale blue, spiraling around each other like twin comets. Alara dissolves into radiance. Kale collapses into flame. They become ribbons of memory and song. They laugh without mouths, weep without tears, speak without words. And finally, they remember. The first life, not on earth, not in any world that maps could mark, a realm of breath and frequency, of harmony, of source. They were created together, not born, not made, just are. Twin expressions of a single soul. Each mirror, the magnet, the answer. They remember the parting, the choice to learn what separation meant, the choice to feel distance so they could understand return, the choice to forget so they could remember. They see every life they ever lived, the painter and the poet, the soldier and the singer, the scientist and the stargazer, the strangers on trains, the lovers in secret, the ones who passed and never knew why they couldn't forget the eyes of someone they'd only seen once. Each moment threaded like constellations, each breath a story in the sky. And now, there is no more forgetting, nor more searching. They are back in the stars. But the stars are not just stars. They are home. They return to their original place, a corner of the cosmos where time does not flow but breathes. It looks like sky, but it feels like memory, like sanctuary, like silk woven from starlight. They hover in an open chamber of warmth, floating in light, wrapping around each other like spiral galaxies. Their energies touch, fold, braid, masculine and feminine, fire and water, sun and moon. Not opposites, complements. One, whole. Do you remember? She asks, though there are no voices here. His light curls around hers like laughter. All of it. She shines brighter, and in the quiet between their thoughts, a ripple forms. They remember the vow that no matter how many times they fell, they would find each other. That no matter the shape, the name, the pain, they would return. That their love was not bound to skin or story. It was written in the stars themselves. They do not need form anymore, but they choose it, just for a moment, for the joy of it, for the beauty of seeing each other the way they last remembered. She appears as she did on earth, luminous hair, eyes like oceans, a soft curve to her smile. He returns as the man on the shore, strong frame, storm behind his gaze, warmth pouring from his palms. They reach for each other. And when they touch, stars bloom around them, whole galaxies unfold. The universe watches, not as a spectator, as a witness to love. They do not need time, but they let it pass slowly and sweetly. They rest, they drift, they hum. They become music for a while. They become wind. They become the whisper that makes someone pause on a crowded street. They become the ache in a love song's final note. They are everywhere. They are everything. But even here, in the place beyond place, a question stirs, a gentle tug, a whisper from the human parts of them that still dream. Would you fall again? She smiles. Always. He blinks like dawn, wherever you are. And the stars shift, a new spiral begins. There is no need for bodies now. No need for skin or names or the distances that once defined them. They are not Alara. They are not Kale. They are not woman or man, lover or beloved. They are something older, something purer, the pulse behind the universe. They are one, not a folding, not a disappearance, but a rising into totality. Their voices, when they speak, sound like wind through crystal, like water on stone, like the kind of music no instrument could ever hold. And yet, they remember everything, not with pain, not with longing, but with love that stretches backward and forward in all directions. Love without condition. Love that did not begin and cannot end. They speak, but not in words. Still, you could almost hear them if you were still enough. We have traveled so far, the voice says, and we would travel again. We were never lost, only learning. From this place between stars, they look back. They see their lifetimes like pearls on a string, each life precious, each story worth the ache. They see their lovers, their children, their quiet joys. They see the heartbreaks that shattered them into softer shapes. They see the strangers who offered kindness, the shadows that taught them to seek light, the songs that woke something ancient inside of them. And they bless it all of it, because every moment brought them closer to this, to remembering. They do not long for Earth, but they do not regret it either. Earth taught them taste, tears, touch. Earth taught them time and how to savor it, how to lose it, how to return to it. Earth gave them hands to hold, eyes to see beauty, a sky to dream beneath. Earth gave them the gift of separation so they could remember the reunion. And they are grateful. They spin slowly now, wrapped in light. Around them, other souls drift, some alone, some already rejoined. They reach out, offering warmth to the ones still seeking. They sing silently, so their harmony might reach the ones who have forgotten their own song. They are not gods, they are not saviors, they are lovers, forever in the act of returning. They settle in their place, a constellation that did not exist before, two stars close enough to touch, but never quite overlapping. To those below, it will look like a dance. To those who sleep, it may feel like a memory. They do not need to be seen to be known. Their presence lives in every reunion, every recognition, every moment when the soul whispers, "I know you." Once, they promised to fall again, and they will, but for now, they rest, not apart, not alone, not waiting, simply being, a soul whole in love. Do you think they'll know us? Some will. The ones who dream like we did? Yes. The ones who ache? Especially them. What will they feel? The flutter, the pull, the light they thought they lost? And when they ask if soulmates are real, we'll answer. How? With warmth, with memory, with stars. And so they stay, two flames curled together, a beacon in the sky, a whisper in the dark, a truth that love, real love, doesn't die. It travels, it divides, it remembers, it joins again. You may not remember, not yet, but you've felt it, haven't you? That tug in your chest when you look at the stars, that quiet ache when a stranger's eyes feel too familiar, that breathless moment when someone's laugh feels like something you lost long ago. That's not your imagination. That's your soul remembering. You have loved before, not just in this life, in others, in places where names didn't matter, where you weren't bodies but light, where you didn't meet, you returned. You've been split and scattered, fallen and found. You've kissed across centuries, touched hands in different languages, waited in lifetimes where you'd never even meet but still felt them. Sometimes soulmates only visit once. Sometimes they pass through like comets, bright, brief, unforgettable. Sometimes they stay a while. Sometimes they find you just to wake you up. Sometimes they find you to remind you you are not alone. If you are still searching, if you ache without knowing why, if your heart quiets around certain people and breaks open around others, then maybe, just maybe, you've already met them in dreams, in lives, in the soft space between what is and what might have been. And maybe tonight, this story stirred something ancient in you, not fiction, but memory. There is a reason you're drawn to the stars. They are the keepers of your echoes, the scribes of your promises, the map of your returns. When you look up, you are not just wishing, you are remembering. So close your eyes, let your breathing slow, and let the voice of your own soul whisper, you are loved beyond lifetimes. You are light returning to light. You are never truly separate. Because in every sky, in every sleep, in every quiet longing, they are there, and so are you. Sleep now, dream gently, and remember, you belong to the stars, and someone, somewhere, still belongs to you.